Going for goal again. Oh! As only Matthew Le Tissier can score goals like that.
So, hello. I'm very delighted to be able to say that I've got Matt Le Tissier, ex-England football star, with me today to share his thoughts and his experiences of recent rather extraordinary times, or with regard to specifically footballers and athletes and the reactions that they've been experiencing post the vaccine. And I noticed, Matt, that you had come awry in a Daily Mail article recently. I'm just sort of looking at it on my screen here, where they say ex-England star Matt Le Tissier is blasted for sharing anti-vaccine conspiracy theories amid fears online propaganda is fueling footballers' COVID jab concerns. And they're saying that you're putting lives at risk. What do you think of this comment written by Rory Tingle? His name is, the journalist for the Daily.
I don't know the guy. I wasn't contacted by the paper to give any comment to what they were going to write about me, which is normal journalistic practice, which they bypassed. And to suggest that I'm putting people's lives at risk by doing that is quite bizarre, because we have actual real life evidence of people passing away because of the vaccine. One of the BBC's own journalists has passed away directly because of the vaccine, and yet they still will gleefully implore everybody to go and get a jab, even though there is a possible side effect that is death from the jab. And yet those people are seemingly the righteous ones, who are, upstanding members of the community, but they're encouraging people to take a shot that has a possible side effect of dying. So how that makes me the dangerous one, I'm not really quite sure.
Yes, well, precisely, given the vaccine is still in trial until 2023.
Indeed, which a lot of people don't know.
They don't know. And this is the most concerning thing. I mean, what they've cited here is Professor Keith Neal, who is an epidemiologist from University of Nottingham. And he says people who are not vaccinated face a higher risk of serious disease and death. That is a fact. And I find that an interesting statement. I don't know what you would say about that.
I mean, the statistics from the hospitals that are coming out about the people that are in there seem to suggest that's not quite true. I think there's a lot of statistics. There's a lot of way of manipulating statistics, and there's a lot of tricks and a lot of deceits being played on the public using statistics.
Well, absolutely.
And I think it's important for people to actually do their own research on it, and not take as read that whatever you hear on the mainstream news channels is actually the truth, because I think it's been proved many times in the past that that's not always the case. And so all I would implore people is to do your own research, to dig a little bit deeper, to look at independent sources as opposed to the media sources who are obviously funded by some very, very a lot of people who have got conflicts of interest in this whole scenario. So I think I'd probably place my trust in independent journalists with no conflicts of interest over the mainstream media who failed to declare their conflicts of interest.
Yes, we had Richard Tice from the Reform Party at our COVID Conversations Part 2 a few weeks ago. And his comment was, if you want to understand why people say things, follow the money. And I think if you look at somebody like Dr. Hilary Jones, who spends a lot of airtime in the BBC, if you look at his investment interests, he's invested in a company called Medtate, and it's partnered with something called Givaudan. and Bill Gates owns a large stake in that organization. So it all, you can find threads running, and the threads often point very much back to the same direction. I think going back to the concept of threads, if you look at Professor Keith Neal and the University of Nottingham, if you look at the University of Nottingham's benefactors, both GlaxoSmithKline Beecham and Pfizer are there. So, you know, my question, Matt, what's your vested interest in coming being slated and, you know, losing your position with Sky Sports? I'd like to know. Where's
it's very interesting, isn't it, that people will take the word of people who are invested heavily into the pharmaceutical companies about the benefits of the pharmaceuticals, and they'll take their word for it over people who have no vested interest but who speak out from their heart because that's what their gut tells them, and it's their gut's telling them that something's not quite right here. And they lose their jobs, and they have no benefits. There's no upside to me speaking out, none whatsoever. I have no conflicts of interest. I have no shares in pharmaceutical companies, and it's quite bizarre that you know, just sticking your head above the parapet to say, "Hang on a minute, there's something not quite right here," seems to demonize you and set the mainstream media on you and try to paint you as some kind of strange, weird bloke, when all my life, all I've done is played sport and tried to do my bit in the community and to help out, you know, a lot of people less fortunate than myself.
Yes,